Hey, what's up guys? I post part 2 of What If Naruto had the adapting ability like Doomsday over an anime symbol, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. So let's get into part 3 of What If Naruto was a Fuinjutsu and Genjutsu prodigy with a mysterious bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was taken to Orochimaru by Sasuke. And enjoy that guys over Anime King too. And remember, if you're new, yes I indeed have 4 channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado or wasting no more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. So, the last part that we left off. The group had just taken on the Demon Brothers. Well, Naruto mostly. As he did it with ease. Using his eyes, he cast one of them under his illusion, as the other one was taken down with a single look. He stopped moving. His mind could not handle the stress, as he attacked his older brother. With that, Sakura couldn't believe it. She knew that Naruto was strong from what she had heard, but this was truly incredible, she thought to herself. However, with that, the team spoke to Tazuna, and he told them the truth, as they had to discuss this between each other. They came up with the agreement though that they would go. Yes, they would go. So it did not take them too long for them to leave and make their way. As they traversed through, they came across none other than Zabuza and Mamakai. As Zabuza attacked them, he appeared right in the center of the group. As Naruto left a small opening up, pushing Sakura aside, Zabuza's blade came down as Naruto was gashed. Blood spurted on Sakura as she stepped back in utter disbelief. She was painted in fluid. As Naruto collapsed on the ground, he had lost so much blood. It was rather shocking to see. However, despite that, Naruto went through hand signs. As he used his Fuinjutsu, Kakashi attacked first and Naruto went after, slamming his fingers on Zabuza. The man was caught off guard as he had to step back. It did not take too long for the Fuinjutsu to kick in. It was quick work after that, as Zabuza fell, paralyzed. Kakashi then used his attack and sent him sailing. It did not take too long after that for him to end up embedded in a tree. Luckily though, someone was there to place senbons into his neck. That was a hunter. They did not have enough time to do much, as Naruto collapsed from blood loss. He was taken back to the house where Tsunami helped patch him up, as Naruto found himself in his mindscape, talking to none other than the fox. Naruto did something that rather surprised the fox. Well, he called him his friend. That was something the beast was not expected. Yes, he was not expecting that in the slightest. As Naruto see him, yes, as a friend. The fox decided to tell Naruto his name, as Naruto had been asking for it for some time now. With his name known, Naruto was happy. Yes, he was overjoyed, as the fox finally gave him his name. The both of them were friends, and nothing could change that. With Naruto returning back to the world of living, he waited for the team to arrive. which they did, as they start to discuss the possibility of Zabuza being just fine. It wasn't long after that when the real thing started on the bridge, as Haku went up against Sasuke and Naruto. However, that was a bad idea, as Naruto was stronger. Using his Dojutsu, Naruto was easily able to overpower Haku like it was nothing, forcing Haku to end himself as he was caught up in a state where he thought that Zabuza had hated him. Paralyzed in fear, he had no other choice but to stop his madness. With that, they made their way to assist. However, it was already over. Naruto turned his gaze towards all of the bandits that came. Using his Dojutsu, he placed them all under his control, as what followed was nothing but a bloody massacre. Things were traumatic as Sakura puked. However, they were finished. Things were finally done, and they could return home. The bridge was safe. Later that night, as they were celebrating, Naruto had made his way. As a girl came across him, she sat down. She just wanted to thank him for what he has done for the people there. As they got to talking, it led up to Naruto thinking about someone precious in his life, and that was none other than one Hinata Hyuga, which he was happy to say. So with that, the next morning they returned as they headed back to the village, saying bye to all the people at the Land of Wave. It did not take them too long to return, seeing that they no longer had someone to slow them down. Getting back though, Hinata was angry as she saw the scar. She was worried about Naruto. She just wanted him to be safe, as Naruto promised that he would be more safe out there. That's all she asked. Time passed by like that, as it was finally time for none other than the Chunin exams. The team all accepted as they knew what they wanted to do, coming together as a group. So with that, they went to take part in the exams, as they came across a few dangerous faces, but that did not matter though. They were ready and they were going to give it their all. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So this we jump right into this brand new episode. Let's begin now guys. Naruto was glancing over towards the Sand team. Kurama told him that the boy with the red hair is releasing an aura of bloodlust from the Ichibai. He could sense him. He was a jinchuriki. As Naruto told his team, it was in their best interest to stay away from him. It wasn't long before Team 10 approached, as Ino squealed, running over to Sasuke, causing a fuss. That is when one of the others came over. He introduced himself as Kabuto, saying that they were making a big fuss. However, he was not the only one, as Neji and his team also came over as well. It seems like it was one big gathering. Kabuto offered to lend him some aid. Sasuke asked about Rock Lee, and he would like to know some more about the Sand Boy as well. And Naruto Uzumaki. They glanced towards Neji, who asked that question. "Are you looking for edge, Neji?" Naruto asked. Neji did not answer him, as Naruto found it amusing. Kabuto twirled the cards on his finger before. Alright, Rock Lee, Genin of Konoha, age 14, 57D rank, 21C rank, 1B rank. Teammates Neji Hyuga and Tenten. Taijutsu expert, no skills in Nin or Genjutsu. He then switched to Gaara. Gaara of the Desert. San Genin, age 13, 18D ranks, 32C ranks, 15B ranks, and 2A ranks. Son of the Kazekage. Status Jinchuriki. Teammates, sibling Kankuro and Temari. Utilize San as offensive and defensive. Special note, he has never returned from a mission with a scratch on him. That caused several eyes to glance over towards Gaara. Next was Naruto Uzumaki, Genin of Konoha, 60D ranks, 15C ranks, 3B ranks, and 2A ranks. Spent 2.5 years in Anbu. Status Jinchuriki. Teammates Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Kabuto hesitated as Naruto glanced towards him. He then spoke. Also, son of. It happened in a split second, surprising many of the people. Kabuto was slammed into the wall rather roughly by Naruto. Naruto leaned forward. Now how would that piece of information end up on your card? As it was about Naruto lineage. There's only a few people that knows of it. So I would advise you to thread very carefully. If you say another word, I'll kill you, said Naruto. His tone was filled with venom. Alright, everyone listen up. The room was filled with several ninja, Ibiki at the head of them. As Naruto released Kabuto, there was no time for the others to ask him what the hell just happened. They were all told to sit down, as Ibiki told them the tests and what they would have to do. Once Naruto got his paper, he realized that majority of these questions are not fitted for ninjas of their caliber. Well, maybe some. However, Naruto was already aware of what was going to happen, so he did not fuss much. Throughout the 45 minutes, many teams got eliminated. Ibiki gave them the chance to leave and come back next year. You can't do this. Several people here has taken this exam already. Well, they were lucky to be given this by another instructor. I guess you're just screwed, Ibiki said, with a smirk towards the one that posed the question. Now shut up and listen. You just have a few more minutes before I give the 10th question. So, if you're gonna leave, do it now. Majority of people start to get up and leave. The rest that stay though. Congratulations. What the hell? Several of them curse as he explained the real reason behind it. They were happy that they stayed behind though. The next test was given to them by Uncle Midarashi. They had to go and survive 5 days. Well, 5 days was the limit inside the Forest of Death, as each team was given a scroll. So with that, they got their scroll and entered the forest. They came to a stop as Sakura asked, looking towards Naruto. So what's our game plan? As Naruto figured that majority of the teams would be going towards the tower to pick off other teams that are going there. However, if they were to beat them there, they would be the ones doing the picking. So with that, they made their way off. Time passed rather quickly. We've been here for 2 days now, and we've not seen anyone yet. This forest really wasn't over-exaggerated, Sasuke said. The place was really massive, it was true. It is not to be underestimated, however. It seems like we have some flies, said Naruto, as he could sense 3 people heading their way. If we're lucky, they will trip my traps. Give Sakura the heads up. Sasuke released a low whistle, alerting Sakura, who jumped down from where she was. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Where's your team, girlie? Sakura turned to see 3 rain ninjas, all of them looking at her. Their clothing were tan and they match, with stitching at the front of it. They all have respirators over their mouths. Well, what do we have here? A lost Konoha ninja. The one at the front said. You could just tell that he was smiling. Let's see if she has what we need. And if not, I don't think that one more body would make a difference to the forest, he said. As the first rain ninja rushed towards her, he stepped on a patch of grass as he froze. What the? Why can't I move? What did you do to me? He yelled towards her. She didn't do anything. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke shouted as he jumped from the bushes. Immobilized, the leader was caught in the flames. His comrades jumped towards the forest. Sasuke took the one to the left as Sakura took the one to the right. As Sasuke clashed with him, the guy was being knocked backwards. As he took notice of the man's cloth covering his left eye, so Sasuke faked a punch. When the guy was unable to see where the hit was coming from, He got squarely hit right in the ribs. Sasuke then backhanded him as he slammed into a tree behind him. He brought his guard up, however. He could no longer move. "Go help Sakura. I got this guy locked down," said Naruto, as he was standing on said tree, looking down towards the ninja. As Naruto walked up, the incapacitated seal still active. As for Sakura, she jumped away from the barrage that the rain ninja tried to pressure her down with. As she sent several kunais and shurikens, he was forced to jump away, right into the incoming Sasuke. It wasn't pretty what happened. "I got the Earth Scroll," said Naruto as he came back. With that, they made their way off. "We got roughly a kilometer to go. Let's get out of this damn forest," said Sakura. Time skip. It was smooth sailing from there, as they finally arrived towards their destination. The days passed rather quickly, until they were all gathered, those that made it. As Hayate was the proctor of this exam, they would be having a preliminary because too many people had made it to this stage. As he asked if anyone would like to give up, Kabuto said that his leg did not fully recover, so he left. The first match that took place was Sasuke Uchiha vs Dojutsu, as Sakura and Naruto wish him luck. As Sasuke faced off against Dojutsu, the both of them engage. However, something rather unusual happened. Sasuke felt dizzy as he dropped down to one knee, causing Dojutsu to land a brutal kick in his face, launching him back. Dojutsu walked up towards him with a cocky smile. "You must be wondering why you're feeling so nauseous." "Oh, that's simple. It's because of my little advice here," he said, holding up the gauntlet on his arm. "So as you can see, it doesn't matter what you do. My sound waves would take you off balance each time." "Thanks for the explanation," Sasuke said as he snapped his gaze up. He had already went through the handstand as he released a massive fireball. Dojutsu jumped away as he took his eyes off Sasuke, which was the worst thing to do. A kunai slammed into his shoulder, another one right into his side, and one into his leg. Sasuke rushed forward as he slammed a shoulder tackle into Dojutsu into the wall. Before Dojutsu was out, he whispered, "The snake is growing restless. One more month and it will strike." Dojutsu then collapsed down on the ground. Sasuke stood there even as he was announced the winner. His face had an unreadable expression on it after what Dojutsu had just said. He brought up the shirt collar that he was wearing as he made his way up towards where his teammate was. The next match was Shino versus Eerie. Shino was the winner. The next was Kankuro versus Misumi. Kankuro came out on top. The next was Sakura versus Ino. The both of them knocked each other out. Tenten versus Temari. Temari was the winner. Shikamaru versus Kin. Shikamaru came out on top. As Naruto's name was called, versus Kiba as he made his way down there. "You know, Uzumaki, I've got something to prove to you. I don't think you're any good for Hinata, so when I beat you, it will show her I'm right. That I can protect her far better than you can. You see, Kiba, the reason why you're not able to protect Hinata is because you believe that she needs protection," said Naruto. "However, you're severely wrong about that. And you should know, she's protecting you from me," said Naruto as his Dojutsu flare. Kiba wastes no time. Man Beast clone. Fang over fang. Kiba came in as he was all claws and fangs as Naruto flipped and jumped away. He smashed and tore through the ground as he spun and split apart with Akamaru came in from both sides. As Naruto jumped forward and turned. "Got you now," Kiba thought, only for him to be slammed into the ground. As the seal on the ground the moment Naruto's hand touched it had activated, and Kiba had just flown right over it and it brought him down. Akamaru was next as he was behind Naruto. At the last moment though, Naruto flipped up in the air as Akamaru crashed into Kiba. The both of them collapsed down to the ground as Naruto stepped forward and Kiba looked up. Utter fear flashed into Kiba's eyes as he looked into Naruto's. Up in the stands, something was wrong. Hinata noticed right away as she saw Naruto grin. However, that was not his usual playful smirk. Kiba felt his blood run cold down below. Naruto's hand started to turn blood red as Kiba stepped back in fear, as Naruto's hair started to grow out and turn black like night. His mouth, open as it became, large fangs inside of it. Thousands, they seem endless. His body started to morph and turn into some kind of demon. Wings came out of his back. Now let me show you why you should be afraid, Kiba. As Kiba started to panic, his heartbeat started to skyrocket. He started to sweat as he crawled away in fear. Kiba could no longer breathe as he felt his ear supply cutting away completely. Naruto, enough! Naruto glanced up as his eyes returned back to normal. Hinata was looking down towards him as Naruto was gripping Kiba by the throat. Akamaru was unconscious. Kiba, now back to reality, was trembling in fear as Naruto knelt down and looked into his eyes. Like I said, she's the one protecting you. Winner, Naruto! Hayate called as Kiba passed out. As Naruto made his way up the stairs. Sorry, I got a bit carried away, he told Hinata. The next match though, as unfortunate as it was Hinata versus Neji. Before you go, said Naruto, good luck. You can do this. She smiled hearing that. However, Neji was not one to give her any comforting words. Give up. It is your destiny to lose to me. I'm only giving you one chance, he told her. However, she brought her hands up as she refused. He spat in disgust and anger. This weakling believing that she can change her fate, as they start to clash against one another. What followed was a beautiful and deadly dance. Chakra exploding all over, their hands clashing and slamming against each other. However, Neji was stronger in it shows. As he slammed his hand right into her chest, she crashed on the ground. I told you, give up. You cannot fight fate. You are weak. Hinata coughed up blood. No, I can't lose. She got back to her feet. Neji turned his gaze towards the proctor. Proctor, call the match. Her chakra points are closed. She cannot continue. No! I must. I have to prove that I can walk by his side, she shouted. Neji just got irritated by all of this. Very well, he said. He attacked her this time though. It was brutal. As he went straight into it, 8 tetragrams. 2, 4, 8, 16. He was about to go higher until his hands were clamped so tight. Neji was shocked as he was right between hitting her. In this state and the speed that he was moving, someone was able to grab onto his hands with such ease. He glanced up, but the person was not looking at him. That is when he noticed that Hinata had passed out. Those hits had brought her down. Neji had been so furious that he had released more force than necessary into those blows. However, he was trying to kill her though, as Naruto was still holding on to Neji's hands. Neji felt the grip on his hands tighten even more, as he prepared himself to retaliate. As Naruto looked into his eyes, it seems like he was looking deep into his soul. If she dies, I'll kill you, said Naruto. There was no uncertainty. There was no threat. He was merely telling Neji what is going to happen. As he released him, Neji's hands were all bruised up as Naruto made his way towards the hospital. The next match was Rock Lee and Gaara. Gaara came out on top after a very intense battle. The last match was Zaku and Choji. Naruto had made his way off, so Kakashi stepped in to pick for him. The matches were set up for the finals after they all got their number. Naruto versus Neji, Shikamaru versus Temari, Shino versus Kankuro, and Sasuke versus Gaara. You have 1 month. Train hard and show up at your best. Good luck, Harrison told him. Kurunai made her way off to go and check up on Hinata and Naruto to make sure that everything was okay. Time skip. As Naruto was sitting by Hinata's bed at the hospital, his head was resting on the bed, as Hinata was still unconscious after a fight with Neji. There was a knock, but no one answered, as the Hokage entered along with someone else to see Naruto lying there. "This the kid, Sensei. And you say he's been here for the past 3 days?" "Yes, Jiraiya, this is Naruto Uzumaki, your godson. He has been out for the past few hours, so we can simply wait until he wakes up, although I doubt it will be easy getting him to leave this room until she wakes up," Hiruzen replied, as he took a seat by the door. Their talking woke Naruto up, as Naruto opened one eye and glanced over towards them. "Hokage Jiji," he said. "Why are you here?" he asked as he wiped his eyes, as he stretched and got to his feet, as he noticed that someone else was there. "You know, Naruto, it's not healthy for you to be ignoring your meals and proper sleep like this. You should also be focused on training for your final match," Hiruzen said. However, Naruto's gaze was fixated on the man that was standing there. "And who is our other guest?" he asked. "Ah, this is Jiraiya, the Toad Sage. He's one of my students. He was also your father's sensei. And he's also your godfather." "And why haven't I met him before?" Naruto asked. "I can answer that, kid," Jiraiya said. "You see, I'm in control of a very massive spy network across the world. It takes a lot of effort and travel to keep it operational." "Okay, so why have you returned?" said Naruto, as Naruto was wondering if his spy network was that important to Konoha. Why would he step away from it? "You know, I didn't expect you to be so inquisitive about this situation. Honestly, I expected quite a bit of anger at me for not being here to raise you," Jiraiya confessed to him. "Well, as you can see, I turned out just fine. I learned how to care for myself at a young age, skipped the academy for Anvu, and I can't really live a normal life in the situation that I am. So you have nothing to worry about," said Naruto. "What I want to know is, why have you returned now?" "Jeez, Minato isn't going to forgive me for this one, is he?" Jiraiya thought to himself. "Well, I've returned because I got some news about a rather nefarious group. It concerned you, which is why I'm here," said Jiraiya. As Jiraiya looked at the boy, he was happy how things were playing out. He was calculating like Minato, and he had Kushina looks. Sensei said that he was already working on Fuinjutsu, one of my specialties, Jiraiya thought to himself. "Can the news wait a few days? As you can see, I'm a bit overloaded with stuff," said Naruto, as he turned towards Hinata as he started to fuss over her, fixing her sheet and tucking her in to make sure that she was comfortable. As he took her glass of water and emptied it, as he replaced it with a fresh glass. "Well, it can wait, but your training cannot. I am taking over for Kakashi to train you for the month. So quit fussing over your girlfriend and let's go." "Like I said, I am preoccupied at the moment," said Naruto, "and as such, I will not be leaving yet. Besides, I've been doing some training." Naruto paused. He just met this guy. He was going to tell him what he was doing, as he knew that he would not approve. However, Hiruzen was curious. "Do tell. How have you been training when you have not been eating or sleeping properly?" "I don't think I should disclose sensitive information to someone I do not know, Hokage Jiji," said Naruto. "Well, you don't have to worry about that. Jiraiya already knows everything. You can trust him. He will be your sensei after all." As Naruto was quiet for a moment. "Very well. I've been testing a specific Fuinjutsu matrix in my mindscape. Once I have the basic down, then I will start to experiment with adding timers to it, like I've done with my explosions and incapacitation matrix. Kurama is helping me. I trust that this information won't leave this room," said Naruto. "Of course, but if I may ask, what kind of matrix are you working on? I'm rather adept with seals." I am no Uzumaki, but I am one of the best that is left in this world. Maybe I can lend a hand, Jiraiya asks. Also, who is this Kurama? I thought you haven't left this room in the past 3 days. Jiraiya was baffled. Fuinjutsu experimentation in his mindscape. At such a young age as well. This kid have Minato brains and some more beyond that. I am trying to make a matrix that I can apply to my allies. Specifically Hinata. That will render my Dojutsu inactive against them. I'm sure the Hokage briefed you on my Dojutsu. The issue is, the seal also has to be able to work when I'm using Kurama chakra. Kurama is a Kyuubi, by the way. When I use his chakra, I'm allowed to utilize my Genjutsu in a wide area without making direct eye contact with people. However, everyone around me will be affected, and that include my allies. So I'm trying to work on a way to stop that from happening so I can fight more freely even when I'm in a group. My biggest work is the seal has to have some of Kurama chakra in it. And the problem is that can be deadly to most people. I have not found out a way to contain his chakra in the seal without corrupting the host just yet, said Naruto. Hiruzen and Jiraiya was baffled, as both of them could not believe what they were hearing, as they could just imagine. From what they knew about Naruto's ability on a wide scale against his enemies, for him to cast it in such a way and it would not affect the people around him, the two couldn't believe that he has reached as far. In the short span, it seems that Naruto has grown leaps and bounds. Jiraiya decided to focus on what he was hearing. Can I see the seal that you've been working on so far? Maybe a second pair of eyes is just what you need. Give me a moment, said Naruto. I'll draw it up for you. As he unsealed a brush, ink, and the pad. He then started. Around 15 minutes in, Jiraiya noticed a look on Naruto's face. Did he just discover an issue? It's almost like he... Hey, have you ever written this seal out before, Jiraiya asks. No, I usually use hand signs. And in my mindscape I can create much complicated seals inside than I can outside of it. So I've just been using my clones to create the seals I can imagine over and over again, then changing the issue I have found. As the other two were gaping at him. What? He said. You know that not even most Fuinjutsu masters can do things like that, right? That's amazing, said Jiraiya. Oi, not so loud, said Naruto. And I know I'm not a normal Fuinjutsu user. It just seemed to come natural to me. But more importantly, I think I know why the issue is when containing Kurama's chakra. Here, take a look at this, said Naruto. Jiraiya took the scroll as he started looking over. Well, this isn't bad. And that cycled properly. But what is this blank area, he asks. It should be where the indicator for your dojutsus are, said Jiraiya. Well, it's blank because I'm not exactly sure what my dojutsu is. Nor does anyone I've encountered yet. When I found out what it is, I can complete the seal, said Naruto. Well, why don't you show it to me, said Jiraiya. As Naruto activated his eyes, as Jiraiya looked at the two yellow orbs, with a black slit for a pupil and 4 tomos around the pupil. Rising out of Naruto's back were 2 wings, seemingly made of bones. They flap and vanish. Jiraiya wondered if he was hallucinating for a moment there. So, do you recognize it? I just show you the abilities that I've discovered and what it looks like. Jiraiya blinked, as he just realized that the wings were Naruto doing. It was so effortless, so easy to be caught under his Genjutsu. You know, said Jiraiya, I've heard of something like that once before. I'll have to get word out to my informants to see if I can get some more knowledge on it. But I have heard about something like that. I think I know where to get some information, he said. Once I get back, we can begin your training. Naruto frowned when he said that. Like I said, I know what you said, kid, said Jiraiya with a smile. And like I said, we'll begin when I come back. After all, Naruto-kun, a voice said as Jiraiya left. Naruto spun around. Hinata, how are you feeling? Said Naruto. I just feel a bit sore. I don't feel any permanent damage to my chakra points. Now tell me why you look like hell, she said. You better not have been neglecting your duties and sitting here and mope. As she gave him a stern look, however, a look of gratefulness was in her gaze for him staying here at her side. As Naruto looked away, Baka, she said, as she reached out and flicked him on the forehead. You should be preparing for the finals, she said, not doting over me. I'm not too worried, said Naruto. I'm confident I can take down Neji. Hinata froze. When he said that, she was afraid. Not afraid of Naruto's health, but afraid for Neji. You're facing Neji, she said. She looked at him as she saw the look in his eyes. I don't want you to kill him, she told Naruto. I know that you're gonna teach him a lesson, but please don't kill him, she said. He can still change his path. She grabbed his hand. I'm serious, she said. I don't want you to have blood on your hands because of me. Look at me. I'm fine, she said. Please. So please don't kill him. Save him instead. For me, she begged. As Naruto released a heavy breath. Alright, he said. You win, Hina-chan. As she smiled. Now go, she said. Go get Jiraiya-sama and train, she said. I'll keep your cave warm until you return in a month. As she smiled at him when he gave her a questioning gaze. Time skip. It was finally the day. It has been a long month, and everyone was excited. I want to thank everyone for making the journey to Konoha for the finals of the Chunin Exam series and said, we even have a couple Kages in our midst. I hope you finalists will give it all that you have. The pride of your villages is in your hands. Now without further ado, let us begin the first match, shall we? In the stadium, a man stepped forward. I am Genma, and I'll be the proctor of the finals, he said. The fight will end when one is unable to fight, forfeits, or if I stop the fight. Understood. As he received nods. He then continued, good. The first match will be between Naruto Uzumaki and Neji Hyuga. Everyone else make your way towards the observation room, he said. As the two boys were left inside the ring. As Naruto stood there. Are both of you ready? They both nodded. As Genma began the match and leaped away. Even after everything you've seen, you have decided to fight your fate. Well, it doesn't really matter. The outcome of this match is already set in stones. You cannot change your fate. Naruto simply ignored what Neji was saying. I wonder, he said, whose eyes do you think are better? As he activated his Dojutsu, he then created 20 clones as they spam all over. In a quick motion, all of them summoned the shurikens from their wrists. They launched it towards Neji at blinding speed. Neji had no choice as he cursed in his mind. He was forced to use this already, as some of them even appear above him. Rotation, he said. All of the weapons were deflected as 10 clones moved forward and slammed the ground. Before they leaped up in the sky, they came back down with such force as they seemed to detonate on contact. As they went off, the 10 clones slamming into Neji's dome. The place was filled with smoke. Neji burst out of it as he attacked the remaining clone. Precise and pinpoint strikes, he took them down one after another. The explosion had disabled the incapacitation seals, so Neji was able to leap forward. However, Naruto seemed to have all of this planned as he stood there. He had not moved from the match started. Neji noticed that as he rushed towards Naruto, Byakugan activated. The both of them traded blows. It was rather stupid to fight a Hyuga with hand-to-hand combat, but Naruto was fighting Neji, as he was able to regulate his chakra flow, so Neji could not cut it off completely. He was reducing it but not cutting it off. However, Naruto seemed to have a plan to his madness as he was not backing away or running away. Neji decided to go all out. As Naruto was in his range, he dropped down 8 tetragrams. 2 palms, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Before he spun and delivered a brutal kick, as Naruto was sent flying away. I told you, said Neji. It doesn't matter how hard you try. You cannot and you will never change your fate. You are stuck in what destiny gives to you. He said to Naruto, who had fallen on the ground, as Neji started to walk away until the ground exploded and a skeleton hand wrapped around his ankle. Another hand grabbed him by the waist as it started to pull him down. What's going on, Neji thought, as he started to scream out as they started to tear into his flesh. That is when Naruto's body started to rise. He had no hair, no skin, just his golden eyes that were glowing ominously. He appeared in front of Neji and gripped him by the throat. The moment you stepped in this ring, you stood no chance. It was already over before it began. As Neji was sweating in absolute fear, he was terrified. The world then shattered like glass, and Neji found himself bind. He was frozen where he was, as Naruto was standing there, right in front of him, undisturbed, unhurt. Neji did not hit him. Neji was confused. It was all an illusion. Now that you finally joined this realm of reality, Neji tried to turn his gaze, but he could not. Let me test a new seal on you. It's really nasty, but I'm sure it will give you an idea of what your own techniques do on people, said Naruto. Naruto's fingertips started to glow with chakra before he shoved it into Neji's stomach. Neji collapsed on the ground as he started to writhe and twist with agonizing pain. As he looked down with his byakugan, he could see chakra was leaking out of every point of his body. His movement started to slow before his head collapsed. To the average observer, Neji was bleeding from all over, as he was no longer moving. Neji Hyuga is unable to continue. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Jinma said. You might want to get him some medical attention, or he will die, said Naruto. The seal had done more than just leak his chakra. Every single point, he had been bleeding. The bleeding had stopped once the seal had stopped causing him to rupture. However, he lost a lot of chakra and blood, so he needed to be rushed to the hospital. However, Naruto was confident that he wouldn't die. He had promised Hinata. It wasn't the match that Neji saw that happen in reality. Jiraiya, what he saw and what everyone else saw. Neji was just standing there. When the match began, before he shouted rotation, he spun. Naruto did not move in the slightest. There was no clones or nothing. Once the rotation was over, Neji rushed like he was going through something before he started to strike the ear randomly, striking nothing before he turned his gaze and then suddenly stopped. Naruto had walked up and slammed him into the ground and held him by the neck. And that is what Neji was able to come to and see in reality. So in fact, he didn't do a single thing. Everyone couldn't believe it. They were in utter shock at the power that Naruto had. Was he able to manipulate someone's mind to that degree? Neji had the byakugan. The byakugan was able to see through Genjutsu, and yet he failed in every sense of the word to stop it. One would think that this would earn clapping from the people, but actually, it was fear. Many had the realization of what Naruto was truly capable of, and they were terrified. Even Jiraiya could not fathom the maximum ability of that Dojutsu. And when Neji started to scream, it terrified the people around. Despite nothing being in front of him, that blood-curdling scream was not normal. Up in the booth, the Kazekage was deep in thoughts. He has to move the invasion up. The boy didn't look like he used any amount of his reserves in the battle at all. He couldn't afford for this boy to fight Gaara. He will give word for Gaara to unleash his wrath in his match. But for now, he had to wait. Kankuro forfeited his match. Shikamaru and Temari went, and Temari came out on top. Shikamaru forfeited at the end, and Kankuro forfeited, so the last match that was left was Sasuke and Gaara. And they would fight, well, Naruto, one of them, who came out on top. However, things are not going to end that way. As the match started, Sasuke went straight into it, knowing about his defense, launching jutsus after jutsus. However, Gaara was fast with his sand, but Sasuke, training over the past month, has increased his speed immensely. Gaara was forced to back away and cover himself. Sasuke then pulled out what he has learned. Chidori! Gaara cried out. Seeing his blood, it sent him into a frenzy. He started to scream bloody murder. The amount of bloodlust that he started to release was frightening. It then happened. They had to move immediately. Feathers. Explosion. Chaos reign. Temari, we have to go. Both her and Kankuro leaped down into the arena. They had to vacate the area. It was beginning. As the Sand siblings made their way, leaping over the walls, massive snakes start to enter the village, allowing the shinobis to enter behind it and beside it. Hokage-sama, we're being attacked from the sound and the Sand ninjas. What is the meaning of this, Kazekage? Hiruzen said. The Kazekage stood, tearing his cloak off, revealing none other than Orochimaru. I should have known that it was you, Hiruzen said. I knew that this day would come sooner or later, and I shall finish what I started all those years ago and failed to do. I will end this today, Hiruzen said with a steely gaze. Meanwhile, Kakashi was taking on 3 ninjas at once, when 2 of them started to scream. Kakashi looked behind him to see what their gaze met as Naruto arrived. I'm glad you're here. It seems like we're in more trouble than we can imagine. Assemble a team and go after the Sand Jinchuriki and his siblings, and stop them by any means necessary. You know what they will do if they're not stopped. The look in Kakashi's eye was enough to convince Naruto of what will happen. The giant monster attacking Konoha. Moments later, Naruto was surrounded by his team, which consisted of Kiba, Shino, Shikamaru, and Hinata. As they laid out the plan, Naruto will be going after Gaara while Hinata and Shikamaru take on Temari, and Shino and Kiba handle Kankuro. It was the best idea that Shikamaru can come up with. It would be great if Naruto was able to get Gaara under a Genjutsu to stop this early. The moment they came across the group, there was no waiting or wasting of time. Man beast clone! Fang over fang, Kiba said, as he smashed right down hard, creating a lot of debris and dust. He then smashed into Kankuro and his puppets, forcing them away from Gaara. Shino swarmed Kankuro, making him jump away even further, as Hinata jumped down and sent strikes towards Temari. She was good, but in close range, Temari would lose to Hinata, as she had to jump away. Shikamaru sent his shadow towards her, but she slammed her fan into the ground and used it to throw herself away, as she flipped and landed in a tree, jumping away from his shadow attack. Gaara, who was in a state of disarray, tried to move until Naruto appeared and slammed his hand in his chest. Gaara collapsed as Naruto grabbed him and jumped away. Once he was a good distance, he slammed him against a tree and started to tie him up. I can't imagine that seal will hold for too long. I can feel the chakra and malice leaking off him. It's too much, Naruto said, as Gaara chakra was breaking through the seal, as he was tapping into the full power of the Tanuki. Kurama warned him that he needed more layers, as Naruto started to feel the power of Kurama rushing into his being. The chakra exploded around him, blood red, bubbling all over, giving Naruto a boost in everything. A tail then started to grow. His features became more feral. The tails then started to split, until there was 4, waving lazily behind him. You have to keep him awake but subdued. If he falls unconscious, Shikaku will be released. The seal is tremendously weak, Kurama told Naruto, as Naruto peered into Gaara's eyes, trying to make him relax. However, that was bad. This is nice, Gaara said. It's been so long since I slept. Damn it, he's fallen asleep. I gotta change it, said Naruto. He had to make Gaara agitated to actually keep him awake. If he was too calm, he would fall asleep, and that was not what they wanted. As Gaara was about to nod off, he heard clashing, chaos, blood. He started to scream. Mother wants blood, he screamed to the heavens, trying to get free, but he could not. He could not get free in the real world, but inside, he was slaughtering everyone around him. Does this please you, mother? He asked. His relentless attack continued as he was surrounded and being attacked by shinobis of all kinds. They were trying to kill him. They were trying to erase him. However, this led to another problem. Gaara started to go insane, and in doing so, he started to tap into everything. Naruto's steel was strong, but he did not design this to hold back a tail beast. Shit, Naruto said. We got a problem. The illusions cracked as Naruto was blown back by the sand. The tree was obliterated as half of Gaara's body was mutated and growing in size. As Naruto realized that he had no other option but to use his new seal that he developed. This is going to be dangerous though. Hope this new seal can pull through. As Naruto was not fully in tail beast state. 4 tails were behind him, yes, but his skin was not being affected or peeled off by it. It was just a cloak that gave him a boost in his ability. However, he was not here to fight Gaara in a brawl. He was just here to subdue and stop him. He needed to touch his hand on Gaara, not the cloak. Gaara lashed out with several sand bullets as he slammed his stomach. He lashed out with his tail as he attacked viciously. However, he could not touch Naruto. He might be fast, but Naruto was more agile. As Naruto used 2 of his tail to pin Gaara's tail down before, he placed his hand on his chest, where the sand was. Naruto activated one of his exploding seals. It detonated. Gaara was sent sailing as he blasted through several trees. Naruto appeared above him. Before Gaara could react, Naruto slammed his hand right on his chest. As Naruto then drove both tails into him, Gaara started to bleed from his chakra points, similar to what Naruto did to Neji. As Naruto's fingertips started to send spiral seals over his body, Gaara screamed and hollered in pain. It was working, Naruto thought. Gaara! Enough! It's over! Naruto blinked as he heard that voice as he turned to see. It was Temari. Gaara's neck twisted at a disturbing angle as he looked towards her. The painful look turned into a grin. Blood, he said. Her momentary distraction caused Gaara to shot out his tail. Naruto's eyes went wide when he heard that, and his instincts kicked in. It would have torn right through her chest as she brought her arms up to block it. However, she could not. However, she felt no pain. She opened her eyes to see Naruto in front of her. It had torn right through his chest. She was shocked. Gaara, subdued. Get Hinata, said Naruto. Naruto was already fighting back the malicious intent from the Fox Chakra. Even if Kurama didn't want him to go insane, the hate from Kurama's chakra, the intense amount of power, was already too much, and Naruto was holding on to it because he wasn't too badly hurt to get angry. But now, this stab, it was pushing him into an unconscious state, and with the power already fluctuating and bubbling up inside of him, it could not be restrained. It could not be pulled back because Kurama had already pumped it into his system. The red chakra around him started to grow more violent as he collapsed downwards. A malicious intent, the heat in the area started to get so intense. Temari had to step away as the tree underneath him started to crack and brittle away. The bloodlust, the rage started to spiral. Everything was being broken and destroyed. She was broken from her stupor when 5 figures arrived. What the hell? Kiba said, as Naruto could not control it in the state that he was in. He did not even seem like he was conscious. Looking behind him, another tail appeared rather instantly. However, the problem was, when he saved Temari, a 5th tail appeared. When he had just passed out, and this made a 6th tail appeared. Hinata quickly took charge of the situation. Temari, get away! Get away from him now, she said. Kankuro, grab Gaara. Shino, Shikamaru, Kiba, stay out of this. Don't go near him. He will kill you if you get too close. She understood more than them. To know that in this state Naruto was not thinking properly. Hinata, get back. He's gonna lose control. One of you need to go and get Jiraiya-sama as quickly as possible, Hinata said. Now! However, everyone was frozen in shock when he got to his feet. His skin was no longer there, peeled off, showing a blood red underneath. His eyes were white. Hinata had her hands up, coated in chakra. Kurama, she said. I need you to calm down and give me Naruto back, okay? She said with a gentle smile, trying to ease him, trying to calm him down in the state that he was in, as his white eyes looked towards her. When he took a step forward. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.